Hey, Swampy, we're gonna do your replay right now, man. Your rank is Plat 1 or 2, right? Alright, we'll be quick so you can go back to your bed. Yeah, I can just send you a link to the replay if you want when it happens in the VOD. If you want to go to bed. Well, this is. Do we have like 90 FOV or something? This looks really weird. Do you play with 90 FOV? You're C3 on Xbox and PC. You're stuck in down 3. Can you help? You probably just need to play more. Get used to it. Okay. It looks like we're air rolling a bit into all of our flips. So our flips don't look very clean. I'm gonna keep an eye on those though. Right, we did land on the wheels on the wall here. Let me just point out one thing to you guys, which I notice is a consistent misplay that lots of players make throughout almost every rank, and that is, in this position, your brain is telling you that the goal is to the left, so let's hit the ball to the left, because that's where the goal is. So everybody tries to get the ball moving to the left, so you bounce it off the wall and it goes towards the goal, but it's just a pass to the goalie. It never works. So what you should instead do is try and get the ball up the wall, because if it goes up the wall here, it's actually really difficult for the other team to read. Think about what could happen if you try and hit the ball into this curve right in front of you. It's going to roll up the wall, it's going to kick off this curve here, and then it's going to go into the middle of the box in the air while curving off the ceiling, which is much harder to read, much more stressful for the defense. They have to waste boost to get it, and you can do the exact same recovery. You know what I mean? So it's a really, really good way to center the ball. Instead of trying to get round the ball and put it straight center, get it up into the roof curve and center it that way. So you should definitely stay on the ball here. The reason being, your teammate is miles away from it. You should really, yeah, you saw your teammate miles away from this ball. He was rotating back. And that is why we have to stay on this. The best play would probably be, if you can, to dribble it back into your own corner. But if you're not comfortable doing that, just stick it up the wall. Just get it high up the wall. Again, to waste the other guy's boost. But look at now what's happened is he can, if he's good at dribbling, he can just dribble your teammate in this position. And we're totally out of position here. You know, forgetting the fact that we should have just stayed on this ball and pressured it. You remember what I always say is you want to ball pressure on your recoveries in 2v2. That aside, we've turned too early. This is another very common problem that people have in their game. That's when they're rotating back into defense, they just don't go into the goal before they turn. I would fully recommend that on every single return to your goal in 2v2 and 3v3, you go into the goal before you turn around. It's just a good habit and it puts you in a better position for things like this. The ball wouldn't be over your head, it would be directly in front of you if you were in goal, and then you would just simply clear it, or you'd take a 50-50 with this guy. So there's already 3 really major things. We're only 23 seconds into the game. Like how to center the ball, how to rotate back while pressuring the ball, how to rotate in goal. These are all very common issues. We shouldn't be going for this. Our teammate's completely out of the game. He is not defending the goal from where he is, so we should defend the goal from where we are. I'll talk briefly on what I mean when I say that. So in 2v2, there's only obviously 2 people in your team. One of you, if the other team have the ball, one of you is going to have the job of pressuring it, and the other person is going to have the job of defending the goal. Now, you don't need to be in the goal to defend it. You just need to be close enough to it that you can beat the ball to the goal if the other person shoots. Here, you are not. You're actually way off the goal line. If he shoots, you've just conceded because we turned towards him. We should have turned towards our goal for that reason. Is there any way to find so much replays to go over yourself in game? I don't usually upload them anywhere, but maybe I should do that. So we've done the same thing as we did earlier, so our teammate is way back. We should pressure this ball. Now, when I say pressure the ball, I don't mean drive into the ball, flip into the ball.
Who has the better chance of winning?
I don't mean
against an
like
NFL team
take yourself
or
out of the game.
CRL team against an RLCS team. Keep up the good work.
Who are LSU? Wait, Louisiana State University against an NFL team or a CRL team against an RLCS team. Well, I have never watched American football deliberately, so I have no idea. But probably a CRL team beating an RLCS team, because aren't like NFL a lot better than LSU? Also, are we talking a 5-minute game? If it was a 5-minute game of American football, then maybe the LSU would have a chance of winning. But in like a full-length game, they've got no chance. They're not going to win. Deliberately, yeah, deliberately. Like, I've accidentally watched American football, but I've never deliberately watched it. I've intentionally watched the adverts of the Super Bowl several times. But as for watching American football, no, I've never intentionally watched it. Right, let's get this high by not jumping into the ball. Okay, well, I was going to say not jumping into the ball. I should have said not dodging into the ball, because this is totally fine. Perfect placement. I was expecting the very common misplay of dodging into the ball here, which with a front flip would have been a really bad option to do, because it drops the front end of your car and you would have hit a really low shot. But this is fine. You know, driving into the ball or single jumping is good because it keeps the nose of the car up into the ball, and you can actually place it top shelf. So that was perfect. 5-minute football game, that would be interesting. Yeah, you'd actually have a chance to beat teams that are better than you. I mean, that's why Rocket League is interesting, is because really anybody can win because the game is so short. So just want to highlight another instance of this same thing happening as happened earlier. We're going back to goal, but your default turning spot is kind of in the middle of the box. This is where your like home base is, I guess. I don't know if you guys play any like racket sports, but a lot of good coaches will tell you, like, after every shot to go back into the middle of your side of the court, because that's the best place, or, you know, just a more central place, because that's the best place for defending the next shot that the other guy takes. It's kind of the same thing in Rocket League. Every time that you're rotating back, you want to end up in your goal, not in no man's land like we are. We're in no man's land again. This isn't where your home base should be. How's your kickoff? Your kickoff's it's doing okay. I mean, it's 2v2, so it doesn't matter too much. I mean, if you want me to comment on your kickoff more, I can. Yeah, you really need to change your point of rotation. We're probably going to do it again. Yeah, we're in no man's land again. We need to get in the goal here. It's 4 times we've done this game. We're just leaving ourselves in awkward positions. I will say your power shots are actually very good for your rank. They're putting a ton of pressure on the other team. So good job on that. But yeah, as for kickoffs, the only thing that I don't like is that your first dodge doesn't seem to be very efficient. Your what do you call it? You're flipping kind of weird. Oh my goodness. Yeah, your power shots are doing work. Your power hits are doing a really good job. Right, obviously I don't like you going for boosts on kickoff, especially with a random. But it's worked out this time. Now, I'm not saying that going for kickoff and boost can't work. Yes, of course it can work, but I just don't recommend it if what you're trying to do is rank up, play consistently. I don't mind you going for that rebound, to be honest. It's a good position to practice that rebound in, so if you want to get better at rebounds, which you probably do, then you should go for that, even if you don't think you're going to score it. I mean, you're already up by 3-1, so you're probably fine to take a couple more risks, practice things that are slightly outside your comfort zone. I would always advise people to do that because it's a good investment in the long run to practice shots like that, because you're probably going to get more of those in the future. Now this is interesting. Remember earlier on we talked about sticking the ball up into the ceilings. It's hard to defend, getting out of the habit of hitting it round the corner. Well, here's an example of how this is hard to defend. See this? Straight up in the air. Now let's go to their goalkeeper and see what he sees. Bounces off the curve and then he's like, uh-oh, what do I do with this? He has no idea how to clear it. If you'd just hit this around the corner like we did earlier, he would have been easily in position to save it. See what I mean? He would be up on the wall and he'd intercept that super simply. But yeah, hitting the ball up into the ceiling curve is really, really effective. It got us a goal here. So you don't even need to look beyond this exact game for evidence that it's a good idea. Just really go for that on your centers rather than move the ball laterally. Get it up in the air. Okay. Definitely would have done well to be further back on this play because, yeah, we just got stuck under it again. The actual mechanical deficiency. We shouldn't go for this, by the way, as well. For the same reason. We're just like too far under the ball. But yeah, the mechanical problems are definitely present as well, like knowing how to fly straight up in the air for a ball. Doesn't seem to be something we're too well practiced with. Hey, at least we landed on our wheels. Yeah, we're just not back in time. We're at the game for way too long. Way too long. Can't be affording to miss a takeoff like that. But you know, it's all depending on what you want to get good at. If you want to get good at flying straight up in the air at a ball like that, then of course you should practice it. Right, let's put this in slow-mo and see what we're doing wrong in the dodge. Do you see what's wrong? Like, this is why your dodge is so messy, and this has been happening on your kickoffs. We only initiated our second jump right now. We've already started air rolling in the direction that we're going to dodge in before we jump, or before we actually dodge, and that makes our dodge, see that? Look how far we're leaning before the dodge even happens. We're way too far. So that means that our finishing point of the dodge is also going to be messy. See that? How our car's like totally turning too far and leaning too far and now landing a bit sideways. You've done this quite a lot because your air roll, or you're air rolling in the direction you're about to dodge in. Your air roll is your power slide and you tend to hold it down. Yeah, you're definitely just holding air roll down too much. It's very important that when you're taking off for a dodge, you don't touch your joystick and you don't touch air roll. Or if you're a keyboard player, don't touch WASD. Right, the second you jump, that was a bit better. This was a much cleaner dodge because you'll notice that when we jumped once, we only air rolled forward a tiny bit and then we dodged. So this one was only a tiny bit wrong. Just a slight air roll on that one. Bumping, nice. Okay, well we kind of didn't go too much for the bump, but it was still the right idea. We do get a goal out of it. But yeah, air roll and power slide being on the same keybind is totally fine. I do that. Lots of people do that. The reason that that's fine is because there's very often situations where you want to be power sliding on a landing and you're air rolling right before the landing, so it's just easier to put them both in the same button. It's also effective because neither of them can be active at one time. Air roll only works when you're in the air, power slide only works when you're in the ground, so having them on the same button is a good idea. Yeah, we're just a bit too hesitant coming out for this ball. In my opinion, you don't need to come out for this ball. Just get in your goal and you're going to be fine. Just be in the goal. You never knew it was bad to air roll into a dodge and you're a GC. Good to know. Well, yeah, there's a lot of people who have these like slight mechanical misplays. It just messes up your landing. It makes your dodge really messy, you know. It slows down your dodge and oh, what a save! Yeah, it looks like we're not very confident taking off in a straight line. So we could definitely practice that. But the positioning is the real problem with our defense. There's no question about it. We need to just get in the goal more. Just dodge and then air roll. Well, if you dodge, you don't need to air roll. Your dodge does a full rotation. That's a decent touch. We got a bit ahead of the ball, but we did make the touch that we needed. Overall, we've had a pretty solid game. I think you're not going to have too many issues ranking up if you just get better at the things I'm pointing out to you. Predominantly goal line positioning, and I've totally forgotten what the other thing I've been highlighting is. The other thing that I keep mentioning. You know, I wouldn't worry too much about missed aerials and things. You might think that this is the biggest weakness in your game, but that's going to come with time. Just keep practicing. You don't need to put too much thought into those. The things you really need to think about, the habits you need to break, are this like really bad positioning that we have, where we're off the goal line all the time. Air roll dodges, that's definitely going to help you, but it's not going to be game breaking to your game. It's not going to completely revolutionize your game. It's going to be a slight increase. Yeah, probably just staying aggressive before you rotate back. It's going to really change your game a lot. Not just leaving a guy unattended. This guy's Plat 1, crazy. Yeah, this is probably one of the times that people are going to be overestimating what rank you are. Because a lot of our power hits have been quite good. I don't know if this is a good game for you, or if this is a bad game for you. I would imagine it's quite a good one because we have 4 goals for top of the scoreboard. But there's still, even in a game like this, been a lot to talk about that we can improve on, so it's totally fine. Are the replay reviews only tier 3 subs? Yeah, they are. I've got way too many to do to make it any lower tier, unfortunately. But yeah, thanks to Swampy for sending that one. That was a really good replay. Lots to talk about and lots of, I think, potential to rank up. I don't think you're gonna have too many problems ranking up.